All right, y'all, let's do a little scouting video this morning. I've had several guys have commented, say, hey, do an early season scouting video for us. And I'm like, man, it's been too hot. And it's going to be hot today, but it's sort of overcast this morning, so I'm going to get out and it's not scouting for deer, it's going to be scouting for mash trees. Let's see what kind of mash crop we're going to have this year. And I'm going to show you how I look and can determine. And sort of give you a little identification between species of trees here, what to look for. Pulled up to a spot right here that I always know this old big tree right here produces a lot of acorns, because I hunt this field here some. I've always seen deer come to this tree right here, and the highway's not 100 yards back that way. By the time we see a big old tree like this, look at the limbs. He's standing out here by itself. There was no house here at one time. So I call this no open grown tree. It's got a lot more limbs on it. But this is a red oak. That's what I want to show you, the difference between a red oak and a white oak. It's the main two species we have here. We kind of persimmons. There's a mash crop too. Honey locust. Beech nuts. So let's go see if we can find all these trees and show you what I'm looking for. Red oak's got a little darker color. Bark's just a little ridge and furry. Got a dark color there to it. But these leaves here, there's acorns. That's why I got my binoculars with you. Bring your binoculars and get looking right behind where the leaves are. And you can see little acorns starting to produce. A lot of times I like finding, limbs coming to the ground, and you're not going to hardly find that in a big stand of timber. You're going to have to get out on the edge, around the pasture, around the field. This is a post oak. Oh man, I see some acorns on it here now, so let me see. See how they're right behind the leaves? One thing different between a white oak and a red oak. White oak can produce an acorn in a year's time. Red oak, it takes 2 years for it to make it, produce an acorn. So that's why some years you have red oak acorns and you don't have white oak, or vice versa. One thing you can tell the difference between a white oak and a red oak, let's pull a leaf right here. See this leaf right here? See how they're lobed? And they don't come to, all red oaks are going to come to a point. They're going to have a pin on the end of it. All white oaks are going to be lobed. That's one way you can tell the difference in the leaves. Look at the bark. You can tell the difference in the color of the bark. See, that's a post oak. It's a little darker than a white oak a lot of time, but it's not near as dark as that red oak over here. And see, that's a cherry bark oak over here. It'll have bark sort of like an old cherry tree. That's one of our dominant. It and the southern red is pretty much what we got in the south. We got a little bit different. Here's what we call a willow oak over here. It's a red oak. Let's look at it. See, there's a little cluster of acorns right there. That's what I'm saying. This is the 1st of August. Well, actually, it's the 2nd of August. And they're already showing what kind of mash crop they're going to have this year. Man, they're loaded. I'll get a little better picture and show it to you here, but they are loaded. That's going to be good. That's good, because a lot of times, y'all, this is sort of me scouting local. And I used to bow hunt a lot in October. Didn't ever really kill big deer, but that's when a lot of times I'd shoot my does and stuff like that. I really like to hunt it before I really got traveling. But what I'm saying by this here is the years I knew there was a white oak crop, I had me some spots that I knew deer come to every year. A lot of times it was just a red oak crop. I'd get off in some of these bottoms and stuff, and I knew where some spots to hunt there. So that's what I'm doing in scouting here for, is see what mash crop we got this year, so I sort of know where I might want to hunt it. And when I'm scouting and I'm traveling, early season, man, they're gonna hit that. That's a food source for them. They're gonna hit. I know you got agriculture out here too, but most time that agriculture is gone when these are starting to drop. Ours usually drop around October I don't know, say the 20th. It can be a little later. these earlier variety beans, these guys are starting to plant. They're done matured and they've done combined them by then. So a lot of times the deer are transitioning to the acorns and stuff. I know further north you get, they drop earlier. They just do. So let's get in here and do a little bit of, show you what I'm looking for identify trees. One thing I did, I went back to the car and sprayed down with bug spray. Because man, our chiggers in this country eat you alive if you don't spray down good. And they'll still probably get on me. And I love wearing a long sleeve shirt. Like I said, I don't care how hot it is. I wear this when he's lightweight. It sort of keeps the moisture wicked away from you. It just keeps the mosquitoes from biting you on the arm. So we got a little bit of breeze today too, and that helps. So let's walk up in there and let me show you some different species of trees. A lot of times the woods will tell you a lot. You just walk up through here looking. See these bigger ones around the edge? We get looking up through there, they're not as big. A lot of times they can sort of tell you the age of the stand. If it's an even age stand, if it's all sort of was cleared at one time and it grew back from an old field, or it's uneven. You know, might have been some trees cut and some more come up. But getting down here, see, that's a red oak. Here's another red oak. Here's another cherry bark. See, that looks like a cherry tree. Like I said, you can look for them. And a lot of times I can pick up leaves down here to see the points on that right there. I know that's a red oak tree just by the leaf. I'm getting on up on this ridge here. You see pine, cedar, a little bit of younger. There's a red oak right here. I can just tell by looking at the bark. That's a red oak. One thing, our forest used to be predominantly oak, hickory, and pine. Before man come in here and started whacking them down, planting pine trees, that's pretty much what they always said. And when I was a kid, that's pretty much what all of them were. Most of the stands had probably been logged off twice, but they didn't clear cut. They just come in there and select cut the bigger stuff out, and it pretty much stayed the same. But these timber company stuff's coming here in the last, they put a mill here in Bruce in '73. And they started clear cut. What they didn't use, they sprayed it and chopped it and planted solid pine trees back. But a lot of you can tell a lot of an old stand by walking through, especially some of these mixed stands. It's hardwood and pine. I'm hoping I get in and find a few white oaks. Oh, I see some right over here. So that's a red. See how dark that is? It's not as much ridge and furry, so I know that's going to be a willow oak. But let's get on the side of this hill over here. We're going to get some white oaks. So you can see this tree right here, how much lighter the bark is. It's white oak, but it's a post oak species. This is a white oak family, but it's a post oak. You can tell that bark's just a little bit different. Let's see if we can find them. Oh, here's a big pretty white oak down here, a couple of them. You look up them, they sort of got a shaggy bark. I know y'all probably seen that bark before. But that's the white oak. Here's some beech, a couple of beech trees down here that's real slick bark. A beech will have a little bitty nut. I hadn't really ever noticed that much in my area, but I've been in the mountains and stuff in places that, man, deer really eat them. Turkeys really eat them. But a beech tree is pretty simple to identify. Look how slick this bark is. There's not very many species of trees that got a good slick bark like that right there. And then the leaves are, see how they're just a sort of long shape. It makes the nut is not very big at all, but you'd be surprised if you find where they really dropping good, how stuff will eat them. Let's walk on back up here. There's pretty much a southern red oak right up here. See, that's a red oak. Just by looking this side hill here, you see the different species of oaks. Let's see if I can find y'all a hickory tree, because sometimes a white oak can be confused of a hickory tree. Or a hickory does produce a nut, but deer don't really. Only a hickory tree I've ever really seen a deer to eat is in the Delta. Some of them little, I don't know even what you call it, like a pig nut. It's like a little bitty acorn. Or a hickory and a pecan is in the same species. They're both basically a hickory tree. Even a walnut are sort of in the same species of trees. Well, let me look around here. Let's see if I can find you a hickory tree. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, I'm going to show you something here that I would really like just walking through these old woods, especially in old stand hardwood. You can see it. You know, they're there in these pine plantations where they've done cleared it and planted pine tree back, but I don't know if you can see right here. There's a little old impression going right up through there. It goes and comes right through here and goes right down through there. You can tell there's another one right over here. It comes and goes right up through there. That's an old horse trail or wagon trail a long time ago. And what they're doing is coming around this last year. Probably going off down in the bottom, because the river's down this way. And it's probably taking this and going right up through here. But that's man-made. That's not natural. Because you look anywhere up on that hill right there, you don't see that. And you see these gullies cut in these banks and stuff. It's usually pretty much man-made. But I can just sit here and daydream. I wonder who was that come up through here? Where did they live at? How their life was back then. How many times they'd come up and down this trail? Just where were they going? Want to see a friend? Want to see a neighbor, family member? Or that was might have been a little community store later on. Could have been a little school or something. Because a lot of times they claim they just have a school in amongst a little bitty community. You know, just something how society's changed and how it just keeps changing. So, actually, I just like to reminisce. Got my old dog with me. She likes to go with me too. She done got down there in that water playing around. It got hot now. But hey, let's see if I can find y'all a hickory tree. That's really what I'm gonna look for next, is a hickory tree. This is pretty much white oak and red oak right in here. A little bit of softwood. What I mean softwood is sweet gum. There's a sweet gum right there. Where that don't really have no value to deer or anything. Another sweet gum over here. Well, let's ease on. You ready to go? I got to stand here looking around, trying to see if I can see any acorns on these bigger trees way up there. It's hard to tell. They're not loaded like them on the outside. Didn't really think about it. I ordered me some trees, some fruit trees. Had some chestnut trees at a show the other day. And I asked that guy, I was like, all right, when I plant them, do they have to have, all day sunshine? He said, no. He said, but if they just have sunshine half the day compared to all the day, they're going to produce half as much. And I didn't really think about that before, but think about it. That tree that was standing out there we first looked at, it was oak grown. It was standing out there getting a lot more sunlight than these in here. And a lot of times you see that. You see one standing around the edge of a field or something, or standing out in a pasture or something by itself. It just seems like they produce a lot more acorns. So, that's a little tip. What y'all's thoughts on that? And I did have a guy years ago. I was over in Arkansas scouting, and stopped in a little store there and got talking to him, and he'd killed a big old deer in a big old flat bottom. And I'm like, this has been 20, 25 years ago. And he basically said, what I look for in a big flat bottom is the tallest tree. He said it just seemed like that tallest tree had the best acres. That he said he killed that big buck feeding on that taller tree. Well, that might make sense. That taller tree is standing up there getting a little more sunlight than the rest of them. So, hey, just a thought. What do you think about that? It's sometimes it's sort of hard to tell which one's the biggest one when you stand in a, but a lot of times you can tell by canopy and the size, and it may be the tallest. But leave me a comment. What do you think about that? But I'm gonna go find y'all a hickory tree. I just can't find one that's down here, or not right in here. But I know where some's at. All right, I finally found me a hickory tree. Here's an example I want to make. You see these? Has shag bark. What I'm calling shag. See that bark here, how it's loose? These over here. That's your white oak. But I got a hickory right down here. See how that don't really come all the way down? Hickory's not going to come all the way down neither, but it's going. Let's see right here. Let me show you what I'm looking for. Don't mistake this for a white oak tree. Like I say, sort of a tight bark hickory and a shag bark hickory. But here's a shag bark that you can just tell is a little bit different than a white oak. You know, a lot of times this bark here, you can sort of grab it and peel it off. See how it comes off in bigger chunks. So that's a hickory. But all their leaves is more of a pointed, won't have no lobes on it. That's one thing I say, don't mistake this for a white oak. Because like I said, there's, I don't know if you see up through here, I don't know how this camera's going to bring this out. There's a white oak. Got one big white oak right here. But that's what I look for. Find these little ridges. Most times they're going to be mixed with white and red, but a lot of times it's going to be predominantly one or the other. Majority of it. And it's like this here. That ridge there's got some red in it, but there's a lot more white oak in there. So let's see if we can find you honey locust and a persimmon. So, all right, I'm on a tree line right here that I knew where there's a honey locust. It's not big enough to produce any fruit yet, I don't think. But here's what it looks like. See these little leaves, looks sort of like a fern. But one thing you can tell is see these thorns right there. When you see them thorns like that, and they ain't on a bigger tree, they'll be at the base of the tree. But a lot of times they produce a pod, sort of about like a butter bean pod, but a lot longer. It will get like a foot long with small beans in it. But it's sort of certain stages when deer really like them. It's sort of right when they first fall off. It's like the sugar content or something comes up in them, and they really like them then. But it seems like the longer they sit there, they won't hardly eat them. But that is something. I've never killed a deer over honey locust, but I've heard several guys that have, especially in some of these river bottoms. They claim a hog don't really like them, but deer will. So, but here's a hickory. There's another shag bark in there, but here's a leaf. I can get to this in here pretty good. See how they're just sort of pointed leaf. And you can see right here, see this bark shaggy? That's what I call a shag bark hickory. See, most time you can pull that bark off like that. See, the bark's sort of light like a white oak. Not quite, it's got a little bit more of a gray tint to it. But like I said, if you like squirrel hunting, this tree you're looking for, the hickory nuts. Most time that's what a squirrel cutting. All right, let's go find a persimmon tree. I think I know where one is. Most time they're around the edge of water or around the edge of opening. I think I remember seeing one right here the other day. Alright, I found me a persimmon tree here. Here's what the bark looks like. And there's the leaves. They're sort of sort of a oval shape, like there's, you know, not as a little bit longer than they are wide, but with rounded edges, not lobed. I don't see no persimmons on this one, but a lot of times persimmon is not uniform. It seems like you might find them in a spot, and then, or there may be 10 trees in there, and there may be 3 or 4 that's produced this year. There's some I've ever seen them where all of them you find is loaded. But now that is something you can find early, because they usually drop sometimes right before the acorns do, and deer really like them. So let's go find a couple trees here, and let's close this thing out. Let me give you my thoughts on it. All right, after riding and looking at several different trees, I think we're gonna have a decent red oak and white oak crop, generally. And a lot of times that may not be for 20 miles down the road. It's the same. In my opinion, a lot of times frost lines go down different. And I think frost is what affects a lot of it. When these trees are budding early, if frost gets them, they won't produce. And like I said, that red oak, it was a frost year before last, not this year. Like this tree right here has got just a few on it. You see a few right in here? But there's one right over there on that fence row that is absolutely loaded up. So that don't mean every white oak tree in the woods is going to be loaded. Every red oak tree in the woods is going to be loaded. You just got to find them specific trees that year that they have a good, you know, they're going to have a good crop. But y'all, hope this helps you out a little bit. Y'all, there's all kind of stuff you could Google. White oak, red oak, and see the different species of red oaks and white oak. Hickory, same way. You honey locust, you beech. Like I said, if you really want to learn about trees, and I recommend you do. Like I said, I worked in the woods my whole life, so I don't think much about them. I don't know exactly, you know, I call this a red oak, or I don't know exactly what type red oak it is. It's not a southern red, because southern red's got a turkey track. I guess it could be a cherry bark with that lighter bark there. You know, there's a scarlet oak. There's a lot of, just look them up, and you'll see how many different red oak species there are and how many different white oak species there are. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this show. Hope it helps you out. It's something you can do, really, a little bit. Like I said, this is the first week of August, and it's already showing what fruit it's going to have. You know, they're just going to get bigger. They're going to mature on out and drop. So I'm going to do several more different type scouting videos here the next couple weeks. I'm going to do a lot of traveling here when it ever starts cooling off a little bit, and do some pre-scouting in some areas that I want to show you. I'll get my bow down, show you what I like to do with it. So hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.